host, and we're going to be talking today about basically crowd generation, bringing your crowds into Unreal Engine, and doing some stuff with Sequencer, bringing in cameras and whatnot. You'll see what we're going to get up to. If you've already signed up for this webinar, you're probably already familiar with the outline. But yeah, I just want to say welcome to everyone. I'm here in Calgary, Canada, where it's still a little bit sunny out. The days are getting longer, which is really nice. I know that I see there's a lot of other people from Canada in the chat as well, which is awesome. So thanks for being here, everyone. And yeah, so a couple of precursors here before we get started. As always, we are recording this on Zoom. So if you have any, if you want to go back and review anything, we will be sending out a link for the video later on, and you can review that on your own time. And we are live streaming this on YouTube as well. But if you're on YouTube, we're not going to be answering questions on YouTube. We're only going to be answering questions via the Zoom application, which goes to my next point. Any questions you have, we have a Q&A session at the end of today's webinar. And if you want to ask questions, put your questions in the Q&A section there in Zoom. Excuse me. And yeah, we'll get to that at the end of the demo here and answer any questions you guys have about pretty much anything you want to learn. All right, cool. And the chat's always open. I won't be checking the chat too much while I'm doing the live demo, just because it's just me by myself today. So I only have one set of eyes to be at one place at one time. But we'll see as things go along here. Yeah, so that's about it for the introduction here. Also want to mention as well, at the end of today's webinar, we'll send you out a survey. If give us your feedback, what you want to learn about more in the future, any topics you want to learn about for webinars, any guest speakers you want to have and stuff like that. We're always there to welcome other people as well. Put that in the, or fill that out, and you get a 10% discount for the content store, which is stackable on top of all the other discounts. So, why not spend a couple minutes doing the survey and get that little extra discount on the content store. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see my screen. I think I shared my screen, should be okay. If you are a student or a teacher, I highly recommend checking out our Global Training Center. I'm going to put this link in the chat window just so you guys have it for sure here. But boom, there we go. Where's the chat? Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, so if you are a student or teacher, check this out. Get the 60% discount on the content store, or 60% discount on all of our software. I was just talking about the content store. Get the discount here. Basically, just show them your card and all that stuff, and you're good to go. And we do have discount pricing for large classrooms and academic pricing and all that stuff. So you'll email me. You'll actually get me if you contact us for that stuff as well. Yeah, okay, cool. Little promotion we got going on here. If you go to the content store, reallusion.com/content store, we have this March giveaway. If you click on it, we can go to the landing page here. If you spend $199 in the content store, you get Character Creator 4, which is awesome. All right, so this is a good chance to pick up Character Creator 4 if you want to pick up some extra content as well. I mean, it's a really good deal, to be honest with you. I'd recommend checking this deal out. If you haven't gotten Character Creator 4 yet, it's a super good deal. And you won't get a much better deal than this throughout the year. So it goes until March 31st. Limited time, couple of weeks there. All right. What are we here? Okay, so yeah, back on our main page. As well, I'm going to be talking a lot about different topics that have to do with CrowdGen and Unreal Live Link, which we're going to be using a little bit later. If you have any questions and you want to kind of like learn on your own pace and check out some dedicated tutorials, just go up to our learning from the main page, reallusion.com, go to learn free online tutorials, and here you'll go to iClone. And we have CrowdSim here. And basically in CrowdSim, you'll see all the kind of stuff that we're going to talk about today, actor groups, Live Link, bringing it into Unreal Engine 5 and all that fun stuff. All right. Coolio. I think that's really all the preface that I need to do in terms of what we're going to talk about today. So we'll hop right into the live demo. We got a lot of stuff to cover today. And of course, like I said, any questions you have, put your questions in the Q&A panel and we'll get to those later on. All right. Cool. We got Victoria, Australia, Los Angeles, lots of Aussies. Yeah. Lots of Aussies and Canadians, I guess, today. It's weird. Commonwealth unite. Anyways, okay, so we're basically gonna start a couple of projects here. The project I'm going to be using in Unreal, I'm going to show you right from the beginning how to set up your project. And just caveat here. You do have to have Unreal Live Link for this. Okay. So this is a plugin you can get from the store. And if you're an indie developer, an indie studio, you can apply to get it for free of charge, which I highly recommend. They're fairly flexible with that stuff, which is really cool. Okay, so if you have Unreal 5.3, you will have this app or this project here under architecture, ArcViz. This is what we're going to be using today, just so everyone has it. We're going to just call this, what should we call it? My super cool demo, crowd gen demo. Just so it's, oh, that's too long. Super cool crowd gen. There we go. Okay, this architectural pre-visualization for those of you who aren't aware. So this is kind of like a scenario where you maybe work in a marketing department or something, or you're hired by a property developer or something to kind of make their building look cooler. I mean, obviously, if you're going to move into a new condo or a new, like you're building a new event center or something, you don't want to just to be sitting empty. You want to have kind of people walking around and children playing in the forest, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But yeah, this is the project that we'll start with right here. You can take a look around it on your own time if you want. Not really too much to look at. It's very basic, and that's the kind of reason why I'm using this one. It's very lightweight, very basic. And I won't be worrying too much about lighting in this case, just because the lighting in this project is already awesome. And transferring lighting is pretty easy anyways. But we'll talk about camera transfers and all the other fun stuff as we move along here. Okay, so we have that open. Now you need to get your plugins installed, which are the auto setup plugin, which is free, and the Unreal Live Link plugin, which is free. Okay, so once you've downloaded those, let's just go over here, and you'll see in the main folder, your program files, go to Reallusion, and shared plugins. And here you'll find the plugins for Unreal Live Link and Auto Setup. Okay, so what you want to do first is you want to go to your project folder, which I always just right-click on anything and just go to Show and Explore. That's the easiest way to get to the project folder in Unreal. And super cool crowd gen will just go in there. And I'm just going to basically, what you want to do is click and drag the folders we're going to be using 5.3 here. And of course, make sure you're updated to the latest version, which is 1.33. Okay, just copy your plugins and content folders. Copy those into your Unreal project folder. There you go. And do the same thing for the Unreal. So let's go back up to Unreal, or sorry, Live Link rather, and 5.3, and just copy that plugins folder as well. Okay. And sometimes it pops up. Do you want to update? Sometimes it doesn't. In this case, it doesn't look like it's updated, but we can close that down. And we'll just have to reload that project. And once we reload the project, it will show the plugins at the top. And you'll see the plugins in the plugin menu and everything like that. It's a little cold in here. It's still a little chilly up in Canada. Okay, so what did we save it as? Super cool crowd gen. There we go. All right, so we'll just load that project really quick. Thankfully, this one doesn't have to compile too many shaders, which is great. So once this loads up, we'll see the, there you go. So new plugins available, manage plugins. We can update the project, whatever. Okay, and you'll see the Reallusion plugins right here, character creator. Make sure they're checked off, and you're good to go. Right, and you want to get the codec. This one, codec. This one doesn't really matter for this case, actually, so we don't have to worry about that. We used to have to worry about stuff like that, but not anymore. All right. And once you have that all that stuff all loaded in, you'll have a CC shaders folder. We'll talk about that more a little bit later, but let's just change this to cinematic view so we don't have all that stuff. Whoa, sorry for the bright flash there. Yeah, okay, so we just have a nice looking easy project to navigate here. Okay, so the cool thing we're going to start off by basically the new Live Link is absolutely amazing. I've seen like Live Link develop from the very beginnings to the way it is right now. It's super fast and super easy to transfer stuff back and forth from iClone to Reallusion, or to iClone rather. So let's get started by going into our Unreal Live Link tab. You can also go plugins, Unreal Live Link, of course, up here. Okay, make sure everything's linked. Just go activate link. I know we don't have anything in our project yet, but we will. Let's go to Unreal then. And what we're going to do is we're going to like set up this little event center first. You can see this cool looking, it almost looks like the Saddle Dome in Calgary. I'm not sure if anyone's aware of that. If you're a hockey fan, maybe you are. But yeah, it's a pretty cool looking event center. And say we wanted to, populate this with a random crowd really quickly. Thanks to CrowdGen, it's super easy to do that. So what we need to do first is make sure that we are, let's move this out of the way here. All right, go to live link here, add our source, iClone live link. Okay, we're all connected. That's basically all you have to do. And the next step is just transfer over whatever you want. So we're going to basically bring our characters in and animate them all in iClone, and then we're going to transfer them over to Unreal. And it's a really fast process. It takes a few minutes. So I want to basically have a couple of people just randomly walking around this little, whatever it is. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. A huge veranda of some kind. We'll right-click it to do that. Once you're linked up with Live Link, right-click anything and transfer to iClone. Now, there's three options here. You can, if you have multiple options or multiple props and you want to merge them all together, you can select Transfer to iClone Merged. Transfer to iClone Simplified will really decrease the details of your object. If you have a very high poly mesh, you may want to do that. But I'm just going to go ahead and transfer to iClone. It's just going to transfer the same mesh. And you can see, boom, it's right away, like super fast. Okay, so this isn't a very heavy object. All right, so hey, we want to get some people walking around, randomly mulling around the base here. Okay, let's go ahead and go over to our content then. And actually, no, we're going to first create a navigational mesh. Now you can create a navigational mesh from Create, the Create menu up here, and generate nav mesh. Or you can go down here and in the toolbar, generate nav mesh like this. Now, in this case, we can go ahead and try and generate a scene. So this is our nav mesh is basically where our characters are able to walk around. Now, if we choose scene right now and generate, you can see this is basically where the characters can walk. Now, unfortunately, the characters we don't want to have characters walking on the roof there. They're not Spider-Man, so that's not going to work for us. And there's no way we can set that because of the way this mesh is. There's no way we can set it only for the bottom. We can't set it for the bottom and top separately. So I'm just going to Control Z and undo that, and we're going to create a volume. Okay, so create volume right here. And that creates a tiny little box, right? Tiny little box right here. And basically that's where the characters can walk around right now. Now we want to expand that box, obviously. I'm going to select auto build here. And if you go to diagnostic mode, you can see that this little triangle is where the characters can walk around right now. I don't want that right now. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to my scene manager right here. We're going to make our building. This is the building that imported. We're going to change it to a wireframe mode, okay? And then press the G hotkey to get an overhead view, okay? This is a really good way to create your nav mesh. So this is the nav mesh controller, and this is the bounding volume that we just created, this yellow box. So if I press the R hotkey, we can expand it, okay? You can see the yellow box expanding there. You pay close attention. We just want to expand the yellow box so that it encompasses the area of the ground. Okay, it can be a little bit wider, doesn't matter. Okay, and then when we do that, if we go, go down here, you can see it creates the volume box, and the volume box is right above the ground plane of the building there. And so that's basically exactly what we want. So if we change this back to, whatever shader mode we want, regular shader mode here, and we go into diagnostic mode, nothing yet, we need to generate. Okay, so now it generates nav mesh. Okay, and you can see automatically it kind of worked around these pillars in the middle there, which is really cool. There's a couple of things you can change here. The main ones are cell size. If you decrease your cell size, you can see if we have auto build on, it will automatically, it'll smooth it out a little bit. I generally, if resources aren't a problem, a smaller cell size is more accurate. So you want to have a smaller cell size. And then we also want to go to area, minimum size, maximum size. Now, if we just make this invisible, let's just make our building visible right now. If we change our minimum size right here, you can see the characters are still technically able to walk around inside the pillars. So we kind of want to define it a little bit looser. Okay, make that up like that. And then go ahead and, it'll generate automatically. And we're good. We're good to go. We have our bounding volume. So this is where our characters are going to be able to walk. and move around and all that stuff. Okay. So step one is finished. Now what we want to do is we want to bring some guys in. So let's go ahead and create. And under create, we're going to go to scatter. We can generate crowd. Okay, in this case, I'm just going to generate a crowd, really simple crowd. And there's a lot of options here when you generate a crowd. We want to have our generation type to random. Formation would be like army marching and stuff like that. Our spawn region, where do we want them to spawn? We want them to spawn on the nav mesh. So let's click that, pick object, and pick our nav mesh right there. Okay, range option nav mesh, perfect. And it already brings up a number of characters. Now, just for time's sake, I know you could have like 20 guys walking around in this project, which would be, it's quite a lot. But I'm going to go ahead and take this down to 8, just so it's like less time when we transfer to Unreal. Okay, and 8's really enough, you know, for a project like this. Commercialization image. You can see where the characters are starting. We don't want them all facing the same way. That would be a bit weird. So we can just change our random orientation. You can see the arrows of these little dummies here move around as I randomly orient them in different directions. Okay. And you can mess around with the irregular orientation too. It's all good. All right. And at that point, what we can do next is we can go to, we don't need to add a focal point unless we want them all looking at the same place. Now, what I want to do next is bring in some actors. So let's go to our content manager here under actors. And I'm just going to go to pack. And we'll take away that search field right there. We're searching for Rail before. And under actor, now there's a whole bunch of actors that you can find in the Actor Core website. You can also purchase various content packs in the content store. I'm just going to bring in a couple of maybe like one selection of actors. Okay, they're all going to be business actors in this case. So I'll just choose Business Crowd Volume 1. Okay, this is a content pack you can purchase from the content store. And it contains, I think, about 12 or 16 characters. I forget. Just select them all. We'll count them as we bring them over to our actor pool here. So this is the actor pool from which our crowd generation tool is going to generate our crowd. Okay, so we got a bunch of people there. It's a bunch of females and males. Now we have this option to deploy with variant materials as well. If you want to randomize the materials, a lot of these characters have, you know, different material styles that you can click on or that you can assign to your characters. And I can show you that more later if you want. We can assign them all like individual motions, or we can assign them IMDs. Now, IMDs are from Motion Director, which is a super awesome tool. I'll show you a bit more about it later. And it's basically how you can pilot characters like live in real time through your scene and save the animations and stuff. And I'll show you a couple instances of that. IMD files contain a number of different movement behaviors. So to find your IMDs, there's a number of them embedded with iClone. If you go over to animation here, you will find under animation, you'll find Motion Director. And the ones in this Motion Director folder, these are the ones included with iClone. So there's also other ones you can purchase in the content store as well. We're going to use this parkour one later for some silly reason, but we'll go to the Motion Director one since everyone has this. And we'll just assign a couple of IMDs. We can do like a casual walk, casual stroll, male right here. Okay, we'll just click on that one, drag it in. Whoops, we need to go IMD first. Click and drag that in. Okay. So we have a casual stroll male. We have a casual stroll female. We can assign more if we want. We can have a casual walk, crowd sim walk male, crowd sim walk female right here. Okay, we'll just use those because we just want them to basically be walking around. And I can explain more about these tags and stuff a little bit later on. But for now, we can just go ahead and see where we want to generate, place our actors. This looks pretty good, but if you want, you can also generate placements again, and see. We want something that's where they're all pretty much far apart, not kind of congregated in one area of the map, or the nav mesh rather. So there we go. I think that one looks okay. Let's go ahead and deploy actors. So this is going to randomly select actors from my actor pool there, and it's going to bring them all into my scene, and it's going to randomly assign them one of those IMD files that I put in the pool there as well. Totally random, but they're all tagged. So you can see male adult will only be assigned the male IMDs. The one here, it says male. It won't be assigned a female IMD. Otherwise, it would look weird if a guy is kind of sassy walking. Unless you want to really do that, you can totally do that as well. You can manually assign them. Okay, so here we have a bunch of people walking around, or they're standing right now. They're not walking around, and we're done with our crowd generation. We have the crowd there. They're not moving right now. If I go play back, they're not going to move. Okay, and that's because we need to go into Motion Director. For Motion Director controls right here. This is where you want to start in Motion Director controls. You can see that our characters are all up here. They've all been assigned an IMD. Okay, otherwise they would be red. They're all white, so that's fine. And they're all assigned this control to auto in zone, which means they're going to be automatically walking around in the zone. Now, there's a couple of action settings down here. We want them to be pretty much constantly moving, maybe a little bit of idling. Okay, so we'll click the action settings, idle move ratio to mostly moving around. Okay, this is just dictating the random behavior of your characters. And I won't go into too much detail because we got a lot of other stuff to go into, but there's a few settings here you can mess around with and go back and forth. In general settings here, we want to have a free camera. We don't have a follow camera at this point because we're going to do the first example just showing some camera movement in Unreal. We don't want to record to camera, okay? We don't have a target character. We don't have to worry about all this stuff down here. Yeah, we don't have to worry about all this stuff down here for now. Macro data is basically where your simulations are saved, and I'll show you that in just a moment. If you want, you can also go to MD behavior, and you can see the individual behavior for the characters. You can see their IMDs. Right now, I have multiple ones selected, so it's not going to show, but I'll show you that more later. Okay, so let's go ahead and just press start. And if we press start, it's going to start our simulation, and our actors are going to just kind of walk around, randomly. If we have them, if we had like a picture, for example, on the wall, we could have them like look at the picture. Okay, all right, cool. So, obviously, if you're trying to advertise a new event center, you can have these characters, and it makes it look more lively if there's people, walking around. You can see that those two almost collided with each other. We have avoidance and stuff as well. Let's just do about 1,200 frames. That works okay. Or 1,333. That's the amount of frames we had. Okay, so we recorded that. Now, if we play back, nothing's going to happen because we recorded it in the macro data, and you'll see our recording right here. You can have the creation time and everything like that. Duration 22 seconds. That may be a bit long, but that'll be fine. We'll work with that. Now, what you can do here is if you want to save that animation to your characters, you want to save that animation you just did, just go to apply to all characters because we want to save a motion clip for the individual character. If I click on the character right now and I press F3 to go into the timeline, there's nothing there, right? There's no animations or anything like that, just a transform, which we won't worry about. And if we go to modify, this character is in light mode, okay? We can talk a bit more about edit mode later if we come across it, but light mode is basically what you want your characters to stay in when you're doing this sort of thing. Unless you want to edit individual, you want to go into more detail in the animation editing or the material editing and stuff, but we don't want to in that case. So let's go back to MD controls, macro data, apply to all characters, and create clip, okay? What this is going to do is it's going to create a motion clip that's 1,300 frames long for each individual character. That's fast. Okay, so now if we go to our character, press F3 and go into the timeline, still nothing there, but if we play back, boom, they're moving, okay? So there is something there, and to find that, we would have to change our character into edit mode. So let's go up here to edit mode, and then when it's in edit mode, she'll change. There'll be more tracks available in the timeline. You can see the motion clip right there, boom. Okay, now you can edit that motion clip. You can do all sorts of motion editing, which we won't get into right now, but we'll change it back into light mode because that's what you want when you're importing them back into Unreal. Okay, so cool. We basically have our first scenario all set up. Now let's add a couple more things in here just really quickly, just to update our nav mesh. And those are actor groups, okay? Actor groups are really cool presets that you can just basically apply. And I'll talk about how to create our own actor group in just a moment. But let's go to our content manager first. And if we go back to actor groups up here, under projects, you'll find them. Okay, actor group. And under, this is social actions. This is a purchased content pack, okay? Go to actor group here. Looks like we have to update it. Okay, I'll just go to social actions here. Okay, and you can see these are the ones that you can purchase from the content store. I believe there's one here where they're sitting on a bench, or a couple where they're sitting on a bench. We'll just bring this actor group here. So these, again, these are presets that you bring in that already have everything all set up. And I'll talk more about this, how to create your own custom one in just a moment. But for now, all you really need to know is they're super easy to click and bring in. You can populate your scene in like literally 5 minutes with all these actor groups. You don't even have to do nav mesh and all this stuff. You can see here we have it's a preset, so we can choose male, male, MM, male, male sitting, drink, male and female, phone, female, female. Okay, so there's different ones. If you select it, and you can just go to randomize actors. It doesn't matter, all this stuff really. If I just randomize it, so there's going to be a male and a female, and they're going to be using a phone. You can see it's in the ground right now, obviously. I want to bring it up later, but okay, so you can see a male, he's showing, he's like, look, babe, I wasn't on Tinder, I swear. uh, so there's a male and a female right there. We'll just go ahead and use those two, okay? We can randomize it as many times as we want. And it's continuous. It's just going to loop continuous, expressionless, okay? If you have expressions on your characters' faces, it takes a bit more time to import into Unreal as there's blend shapes for the face. But we'll talk about that more later. Okay, let's press OK. All right. So now we have this actor group. All right, cool. If we want to bring everything up, including the bench, we need to control click on the bench, press W and bring them up to ground level, just like this. And we'll rotate it. So maybe that's in front of this pillar right here, not in anyone's way. Zoop. All right, and yeah, it looks good. Oh, it's a little bit off. All right, we won't be too picky about this. Oh, maybe we should be a bit picky. I don't want it to be in the middle of nowhere. We want it to look at least relatively presentable. So there we go. Okay, we'll leave it right there. Now you can see here that the nav mesh underneath is still blue. That means that basically, technically, these characters can walk through the nav mesh. I'm not sure if we had a character walk through it. Hopefully not. Okay, good. Thank goodness. Oh, she walked through it. Yeah, well, whatever. Okay, let's I should have put this actor group before I simulated the motion director, but we can do that again. Okay, we'll just re-simulate it one more time. Okay, so we'll leave this here. Now, in the scene manager, now we need to go to our nav mesh, which is right here. And in modify, click update. And when we click update, it should be able to avoid that actor group. You can also, if that doesn't work, if it doesn't update automatically, you can create a barrier volume, okay? And just cover that, move that to where the characters are. And scene, where is our barrier volume? Okay, barrier volume right here, and move it over here. And as long as it's covering your characters, that's fine. That normally would update automatically, but no worries. We can just, and you can also just align it, right click it, align to the bench maybe, X, Y, Z. That's a lot easier. I think the shape of this event center or whatever is throwing me off because it's kind of oblong. Okay, and then when you go to update your nav mesh, then it should update fine. Okay, there you go. So now at the barrier area, no character can walk through here. So let's bring in one more actor group really quickly, just to make it look a bit more populated, maybe a smaller one. Two people standing back to back. You know, they're ignoring each other. Okay. And we can bring them up as well. And I hope you don't have to have an additional barrier. Okay, we'll just work with those ones. That's fine. Continuous expression. Okay. Okay. And then we will, I think maybe I have to have them on the ground floor before I move them up. Something like this, maybe. Nav mesh. Let's see if it updates. Nope. Okay. Create barrier volume and align that other barrier volume to, come on, there we go. Align to this girl. And then we'll just place it a bit better. Okay, so no one can we use the G hotkey for an overhead view, just make our building invisible there. Oh, barrier volume this one, and there you go. So it'll cover both those dudes, or the child and the mother there, whatever. And then we go to update. All right, there you go. All right, no one can walk in there. There should be, and that'll be fine. All right, we'll just work with this and go to our scene, make the building visible. All right, so we got everything done. Let's go ahead and re-simulate it really quickly, just to get our, clear this one here. Our characters all taken care of. We'll just start this. And this should simulate, we'll do another however many frames. Okay, so you can see now they're avoiding the box. Okay. She's kind of thinking and stuff, almost ran into the pool. The guy's following her for some reason. I like to watch their random activities. Anyways, okay, that's good enough. I'm not sure how many frames that was. But yeah. Okay, so now we basically got everything done. And we can transfer this all back to Unreal. So an Unreal Live link, of course, make sure you're linked. And transfer is activated. We're going to transfer the entire scene, including motion. The range, ooh, gosh. Okay, let's go to our character. Let's see how long it was. If I press, again, go to edit mode so we can see how long the clip was. I didn't pay attention to the number of frames. Looks like it was about 1,300 frames. Okay, so we can just click on this, and if we click on this button here, it'll set our start end frame to current selection right there. Quick way to do that. And then go back into, we'll make sure she's back into light mode. And in Unreal Live Link, we'll close the timeline. Current frame range, we want that range right there. And we want to bake all animations to sequencer, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. If you just want to have your characters and the animations onto your main, like as skeletal meshes in your main project, then you don't have to select bake and all animations to sequencer. Okay, but I'm going to do that just because we're going to be using sequencer most of all. So let's go ahead and do that. Transfer and select transfer file. Okay, no cameras, no props. Oh, prop one prop selected, the bench. We don't need to re-import the building. Okay, the boxes, we don't need to worry about those. Those are the dummies. Okay, just transfer file, and we're good to go. Now, this will take about 5 minutes to transfer into Unreal. So while we're doing that, I'm going to go explore a little bit in Actor Core and show you kind of a lot of the stuff, basically where you can access all this stuff, all the Actor Core actors, where you can find and test the animations. And so let's see, we're at 6:33 right now. So we'll come back in a few minutes. Now, the cool thing about this is it's actually a lot faster than it used to be. We're transferring, let's see, there's 8 characters, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we're transferring 12 characters along with all of their animations for 1,300 frames. And it's only going to take us a few minutes. In the previous version, that would take a lot longer, maybe up to half an hour or something like that, which is really cool. So the newest 1.3 update is a lot faster. You can see it's automatically importing everything in. And in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, you'll see a new sequence appear, and the characters will appear in here. All right, but let's go ahead back to our Relusion site first, so I can show you guys a couple things. The first one is actorcore.relusion.com, and this is where you can kind of find a lot of specials, and you can purchase individual characters, these Actor Core characters. These are really useful for things like architectural pre-visualization, like what we're doing in this webinar. You can see there's a number of different bundles you can get as well. They have all sorts of different materials. Now, there's a lot of questions people have about the differences between Actor Core characters and CC3 Plus characters and stuff. Actor Core characters are basically, the materials are all baked, but they do have UV maps that basically you can change color schemes and stuff like that. But everything is pretty much baked. Like, you can't change their clothes, for example. You can't change their hair, for example. They're just kind of set there, and you can use them in a variety of scenarios. But you can change their hair color and all that fun stuff. But yeah, so actorcore.relusion.com. If you guys can't find it, here it is. So somebody already put it in the chat window there. You can find props. You can find actors and motions. So under actor, you'll find all the different actors here. I think there's hundreds at least now of actors to choose from. You can see there's even little kids like this little cute girl right here. If you click on her, you can preview over here on the side, which is really fun, and you can assign different animations to them and mess around. So if the actor has this kind of like color palette on the top left, that means you can change the color scheme like I mentioned before. So you can change her from, let's zoom in a little bit. She's a little bit short. um, let's pan down. There we go. Okay. You can change her to like the orange color scheme. All right. So it just takes a second here. I think Unreal is chugging away a lot of resources in the background. So yeah, it'll take a second to get everything worked here. Let's see, what time are we at? Oh gosh, we got a lot of stuff to cover. All right. Okay, so there's the orange color scheme anyways. And yeah, you can have fun with this. You can change different colors, different lighting scenarios and whatnot. Okay. Actor core characters can all be found here. Hot deals. Check the hot deals always. March special to the end of March. You can get discounts on all these packs. I really recommend picking up the packs because you get a bunch of characters with them. You can also go to the content store, so reallusion.com. Whoops. Content store, and you can find under iClone or character creator. Actually, it's iClone, right? Yeah. Actors. Okay. So you can find us actors over here. And there's all sorts of actor packs. Now you don't have to use these actor core characters. I know a lot of people like, can I bring in my own characters? Yeah, you totally can. And there's webinars, or sorry, there's tutorials about that. You don't even have to have a rigged character, to be honest. If you have some really low poly characters that you want to bring in and use them to populate your scene, absolutely do that for sure. You can do that, and you can rig them up using AccuRig. Okay, so AccuRig is a free you can get there from Actor Core website, actually. AccuRig right here. It's a free auto rigging software, and it works really well. Recommend checking out the tutorials on this. It takes like 5 minutes, not even, to basically rig your character, skin your character, and it works absolutely awesome. So highly recommend checking out the AccuRig. If you have a bunch of characters you want to bring in, you can use them in this exact same scenario. Okay, I think we can close this up now. iClone. Yeah. So, okay. So it's still loading the shaders and stuff in Unreal, but now we can already work in iClone. All right. And we don't need this anymore. We'll keep it for now. It doesn't really matter. Since we've already transferred it over to Unreal, we can actually just delete all this stuff if we want. What I will do is just make it invisible for now, though. Okay. And let's just make all of our characters invisible because they will be annoying. And generally, in a case like this, you can see the avatar groups or the actor groups. They are in a separate folder called avatar group right here. You can make those all invisible as well. Oops, not shadow catcher. Okay, we don't need this nav mesh either. Okay, so it looks like we have nothing in our scene right now. Good, good. Okay, now what I'm going to do is show you how to customize your own actor group. We're pretty much good on time, I think. So I'm going to show you how to basically, I get a lot of questions about animation as well, which is why I thought to throw this in here. We're going to do a quick scenario here. We're going to have a couple of characters walking hand in hand, all right? People always asking me like, how do you have characters walk hand in hand? Well, here we go. All right, we'll go to the content manager. And we're going to bring in a couple of actors first. Doesn't matter the actors. Let's go to, I don't know, under actor here. We'll bring in the first two that come up. All right, so this dude right here in a nice looking blazer, and this female character right here. We'll bring her in there as well. All right, now there is a motion. Of course, you can bring in your own mocap motions. You can bring motions from wherever you want, no problem. I'm going to go into animation, and there's a stroll motion that I want to search for. Stroll. There we go. Okay, so these motions here are actually from a conversation content pack that you can find in the content store. If you ever want to find where a motion's from, just right click it and go to content info or view product page. Okay. This is the conversation studio mocap series. So there's a bunch of motion capture stuff. This is not an MD one, but okay, motion director one. So you can see here, this is a male character. We'll click and drag this motion onto this character. And we'll click and drag this one onto the female character. You can see the suffix F and M stand for female and male. All right, and we'll play back. So here they are having a nice, maybe this is a first date. They're just kind of walking along. They glance at each other, you know, yada, yada. Okay, good enough. But you can see as we move along, they're actually getting further apart. So they start like one grid length apart and they end up, 2 grid lengths apart. So they're slowly drifting apart. What a tragedy. Now, if we want them to walk hand in hand, obviously we can't have them walking apart unless the guy is, Mr. Fantastic or something. So we need to change the direction of his motion. And the easiest way to do that is to press F3, go into a timeline, and you can see the moving scroll clip right here that we just applied. What you want to do is just right click on it and go to motion direction control. All right. And it'll give us this handy little gizmo arrow, and we can just move that to the middle. Okay, so he's walking in a straight line, relatively straight line, looks like. Okay, and then just close it down. There, simple as that. Okay, we have changed the direction that our character is walking. So now he'll walk in the direction straight, but you can see there's no foot sliding. If we zoom in on his feet are firmly planted and absolutely no foot sliding. So it's really cool. It's a really cool tool. You can just change the direction like that and absolutely no foot sliding. Really useful for root motions where your character or your actor may drift off a little bit. All right, cool. So we got that taken care of. Let's move her a little bit closer. And then I'm just going to go ahead and use we're going to open up the edit motion layer tool. Let's close down the timeline for now. Make sure we're at frame 1. Edit motion layer. And, oh gosh, I hate these stupid bone things. All right. We'll rotate his hand. It's like, now we're on a second date. We can hold hands. You can just move it out a little bit. All right. Good enough. We don't want to be too far out. She maybe move down a little bit. She's a little bit shorter than he is. All right, and that looks good to me. We'll take the female character and we will move her hand like this. Such a romantic motion. Such a romantic webinar we're having right now. Now, I'm not going to worry about interlocking the fingers, all the details and stuff like that. We'll just kind of have their hands like that. All right. From far away, it looks like they're holding hands. Good enough. All right. Now, what we need to do here is we need to have kind of an intermediary dummy. And the thing I'm going to do with that is I'm going to click on the dude right here, create a sphere. And we're going to move this sphere. We're going to scale it down first to palm size and move it up. Okay, to our character right there. And the reason we're doing this is because we're going to use the reach target tool. We're going to have the female reach the other guy's hand. Now, if she actually reaches the hand, it causes all kinds of weird issues. So you can have this intermediary sphere object, and you just basically attach it to his hands. Okay, so right click on the sphere, select attach, and select the dude's hand. Okay, good. In the modify panel, just make sure it's attached to the right thing. Yes, right hand. Okay, good. So then what we need to do is we need to have the female character, and in her motion, we're going to go edit reach target and select the left hand, and we're going to select target and keep current pose. Okay, because we want to keep her hand where it is. Very important. Select target, keep current pose, and select that sphere, the ball, or whatever it is. Okay. All right, cool. We're good to go. We just have rotation. We don't have to worry about position, really. And that's pretty much all you have to do to have your characters hold hands. We can select that sphere and just make it invisible, just so we can, there's no barriers between us. All right, and then we play back. And there you go. Characters holding hands, human IK in action right there. They glance at each other romantically. And cool. All right. Good enough. Obviously at the end there, they're kind of splitting apart a little bit. And the reason for that is you notice that he actually is a little bit further behind her. So ideally, maybe we'd want to, at the end of their walk, change his position a little bit forward. And you're like flourish or something like that. All right. And then we want to, of course, make that keyframe from the very beginning. So transform keyframe all the way back, and then play back one more time. Now, in this case, I mean, you can have them like, look at each other and oh, moved him too far back. You might need to yeah, adjust that as we move along. We won't worry too much about it. It looks fine. Okay, at the end, maybe she's gonna run off and chase a duck or something like that. I don't know. Whatever. Okay, so we have the animations all prepared basically. So we just need to save the animations as separate animations before we make our custom actor group. If we want to have like two couples, we can change the couple. We can change whatever character we want, but we want to save the animation. Let's just maybe save it up to here. All right, maybe up to frame 900. All right, whatever. We'll click and drag in the collect clip track right here. Right click and add motion plus to library if there's facial animation involved. We'll just do that, no worries. We'll pretend there's facial animation involved. Okay, and all this stuff here. If you have facial animation, click that. Accessory animation, you need to click all that stuff. We don't need to worry about this. It doesn't matter in this case. It's pretty lightweight anyways. So just press OK. And it should bring up something. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so let's just save this in a new folder. We'll call Crowd Gen Super Cool. I think that was the name of our project. And we'll just save this as Male Walk Hand. Okay. Male Walk Hand. Okay, and it saves as an iMotion Plus. No worries. Okay, and then we'll save the same thing for the female. Okay, since her animation is a little bit different. Frame, what is it, 900 or so? Click and drag, right click. Same thing. You can see hers is a bit different because he has attachments and stuff. The accessory was attached to him. So don't worry about that. I can explain more about that later if you want. Walk hand. Okay, what a weird name. Female walk hand. Okay, so we have our animations all prepared. All right, cool. Now, we can just go ahead and, delete this couple. We don't need them. It's not selecting. Okay, there we go. So now what we can do is we can go to create and create actor group. All right, and this is a base. We're just going to do a base actor group right now. I can explain more about the other ones later if you want. Content, let's just bring in any old actors we want. We can bring in the same actors. It doesn't have to be the same ones, but it can be anyone. Let's bring in the same ones just for posterity here. Make sure that it's always good to make sure that they're at the scene root. Okay. So who was on the left? I think the guy was on the left, right? That doesn't matter. Anyways, when you bring him in, it'll populate the actor group here, the base group. All right. I will bring her in. I think she was beside him, not that close. Again, that doesn't matter. Select the character right here. And if you go over here, you can add an asset. All right. Add an iAvatar file or whatever like that. Okay, so we basically got it all saved. And if we go over here, save our actor group. Okay, we can call it web. Blah, blah, blah. Let's call it. Well, let's just overwrite this one. Couple walking. Okay, I'm too lazy to think up a name or whatever. Okay, so we got our actors all in there like there. Oh, we actually need to apply the animations first. That's one thing I forgot. And we shouldn't obviously be at frame, whatever it is. Okay, let's just go ahead and start a new project. The other stuff to delete it doesn't matter since we already have it in Unreal. Okay, content, create actor group, bring in man, bring in woman. Okay, and then apply those animations to them. Let's go. We saved them in this folder. CrowdGen, super cool. This is the folder we saved them in. All right. So if we bring these animations in, female walk hand, okay, male walk hand, you can see now it populates below here with the animations, and they're a little close. These guys give her a little bit of space. And he needs to be a little bit behind. So this is where you organize the um, distances and all that stuff. Okay, good enough. If you want to tag them for like, randomly in the future, if you want to replace them. So male, he's a male, and you can, whatever. You can choose an elderly man if you want as well. For her, you can just choose female. All right. And then save this. We'll just overwrite the couple walking. Okay. Now we can apply this as an actor group into like anything we want. It's a custom actor group that we saved. So we can go ahead and start a new project. Doesn't matter. Back in Unreal. Okay, so we'll go into the next step here, which is Unreal. Just kind of showing you quickly what it looks like in Unreal here. If we zoom into our scene right here, you can see all of our actors are in their A pose. Okay, so they're all in the project right now. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my, what it does is it loads up a sequence. It created a sequence because we automatically baked to the sequence. So we can load up that in our sequencer. And you can see here, there you go. Now, a couple things to note here. You can see there's duplicates of all the characters, all right, which we don't have to worry about. I like how they blur when you move them around. Now, in our sequencer here, you can see there's a little electric bolt by the skeletal mesh here. That means it's a spawnable object or a spawnable actor. Okay. If you're in your sequencer visual right here, you don't need the actual like skeletal meshes in the scene. So all of these ones in the outliner here that don't have the skeleton on them, you can actually just delete them. All right. You only want to keep the ones with the electrical bolt beside them because those are the only ones that are going to be in your sequence. Okay, so all the business stuff that doesn't have a lightning bolt beside it, you can delete all those. You can always bring them in later, no worries, and you can apply the animations to them again. The animations are also imported, so don't worry too much about that. Oh, there's a kid here somewhere. Why is there a kid? Did I bring in a kid? Oh, I guess so. Okay, so here's our animation. Oh yeah, he's just kind of. Oh, we're on the opposite side of the. That's why. Oh, okay. I was on the wrong side of the event center. All right. Okay. Normally I do this from the other angle, but okay, the bench is also there. We don't need that bench because we have the instance of the bench. All right. So here's our project right here. Boom, 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 boom. People moving around. Looks good. All right. Now, if you want to make it look kind of cool with like a camera and stuff, you can just kind of create a camera. Um, uh, let's do, yeah. Uh, no, we don't want to do it from that track, right? Nope. Sorry. Here we go. Create camera. This one. Cine camera actor. All right. And let's just we can pilot this camera, make sure we're piloting it, and bring it up. It doesn't really matter if we bring it up actually. But generally what you want to do is you want to have this, we'll have it move from side to side. Okay. So we'll just basically use a transform here. Okay, just add a keyframe at frame 1 here. And then at the end frame right here, we'll move to, oops, make sure we're not at a place where the characters are not seen. I probably want to maybe move a little bit closer. And don't mind the white, the ghost characters there. Those are just the dummy characters that are in the project. Let's add another transform keyframe there. Okay, so this is what we'll have. Whoops. Oh, did I not want at the beginning? Okay. Oh, dang it. Okay, let's move to this side. All right, now it should work. Oh, why is it? Oh, we need to pilot that camera, right? Oh, there we go. Oh gosh. It's always fun working in Unreal when you're used to working in other, or working in Sequencer when you're used to working in other programs. All right, so then we just add our transform keyframe there, and then shabam over here. We'll move this way, be a bit closer in, and add another transform keyframe. And that should, there we go. There's our animation. Okay, so it's like, here's our new event center. People love coming here and sharing special time with their families. Yeah. Okay. And that's basically your scene right there. You can render that out. You can go over here to render it out, render this video to a movie video or whatever format. I don't have time for that. Since we're running really short on time, I want to do one more scenario before we moved on. And I don't think we'll have time for, we can maybe have time for camera switching in iClone. Or otherwise I can just explain it to you as well. But I did want to show you a motion director and bringing our actor core characters in and the group characters. Okay, so there you go. Pretty cool. That's how you quickly do it in Unreal. And generally that will take about 10 minutes, except I have to explain it all. Okay, so we'll just close down that sequence right now. Let's do a different one. What we're going to do now is we're going to have the characters that we just created. We can have them walk along that path, or we can have them kind of walk along the riverside here, or the lakeside. I think having them walk along the lakeside is nice. So I'm going to select this terrain. It's just a terrain. Right click it, transfer to iClone. Okay, it'll transfer over real quick. All right. You can see there we are. And the place we want them to walk along is, where are we? Kind of right before the curve. Yeah, around here. All right. So we, if you can recall, we saved that actor group, the couple walking. And what we can do is we can just, let's bring in the actor group. So where did I save that? This one. Was it this one? I think it's temp. Couple walking, right? This actor group right here. So that's the one I overwrote, I believe. Okay, so let's bring a couple in there. Okay, and when you bring them in, it'll just kind of you can see them right there. We can just press whoops, and close this down now, or move it over here. Have our characters selected and just move them up. So the characters are there, the animations are there, everything's there. We want them to walk probably a little bit straighter. So have them face this direction. Okay, and then this will be like the part of the commercial where it's like, have a happy family life with your wife, walking along the riverside or walking along the lakeside with our beautiful lake or whatever. Okay, they're walking a little bit crooked there. All right, coolio, coolio, coolio. All right, they're maybe walking a little bit crooked still. Okay, so basically same thing. Now let's do like a quick maybe multicam thing here in iClone, and I'll show you how to transfer the camera cuts over to the sequencer, and then we'll probably have to. I'll do one more thing. I'll go a little bit over time, guys. Maybe about 5 or 10 minutes over time, just because I want to get one more thing in here. So let's go do some camera stuff really quick. Create camera, create a linear camera, and let's start with maybe something like this. Let's kind of follow them at a distance like this. Okay. And the entire sequence we're going to have is going to be how many frames? Let's just do the 900 frames, because that's when it restarts and you have to go back here. Okay. So we'll just do 900 frames around that. Okay. Right there. Let's just, okay. They're all in light mode. Just click and drag our project slider. There we go. Okay. So this is going to be like here. Our first camera. We can have it just kind of follow them a little bit, and like this. As they walk along this pretty lakeside. Okay, so there's a nice little camera movement right there. And then we'll create another camera. And this camera, maybe we'll have something like this. like an overhead view. And this camera will go from frame 396 to maybe frame 705. And we'll just have a quick movement like this. Again, there's lots more you can do with camera work that goes into a lot more detail. Let's see what that looks like. All right, looks okay. Oh, okay, and then the final camera will have ba, 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 ba. Whoa, whoa, where are we? Gosh. And then they'll have like a front view of them. Okay. Just like this. Like invest in our event center today. And maybe this one, at the end of it is like you can see off into the distance or something. Again, this is really shoddy work, guys, but let's go ahead and press F3 and go into the timeline. Now, to get your camera cuts working in Unreal, what you have to do is you have to use the switcher in iClone. So right-click on the switcher. Let's use our first camera. Camera list is just called camera. I didn't bother naming them. Okay, and we'll change this to switch. Okay, so this is our first camera view. All right. And then when did I start the second one? Is about frame 400, right? Then right click on that one, go to camera list, camera 0. And this one like zooms in like that. Wow. Look at that. And then we want to switch cameras before it starts, hopefully, or before it stops. So right click on that and then camera list, camera 1. And then this one's like, wow. Okay. So we have that whole cool sequence of our people or our actors romantically walking along. I know it looks like they're walking to digital oblivion right now. It's all gray and blue, but they're going to be in the Unreal scene pretty soon. So let's go ahead and do that. We're still linked up in Unreal, I believe. Oh, we started a new project. So when you start a new project, you need to relink it. Okay. And I think it's still linked in Unreal. Yep. Okay. Good to go. So we'll have those guys basically in here. Now, the cool thing about, transferring these assets back and forth is where everything is. And you can basically, wherever you apply the actors in iClone, they're going to apply the same place in Unreal. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's link everything, transfer. We can transfer the entire scene, including the motions. You can see that the range goes to automatically. We're going to bake the sequencer again. We do need to bring these characters in. They're new characters. So we don't need to worry about the terrain. That's already in Unreal. And we do need to worry about the camera. Now, which camera we're going to choose? We're going to choose the editor active camera because this is the one that has the switching. And the switching in iClone will automatically translate to camera cuts in Sequencer. So it's really simple, but that should be good. And we should have that over. And just go yes to this. Don't worry about that. And hopefully this will be fast and it'll allow us to do a little bit of motion director stuff before we end off the webinar today. And I'm gonna basically, what I wanted to do is have kids playing in the grass beside this couple that's walking along. They're going to be using motion director, and the one kid's going to be doing parkour, which is, parkour. It was always reminds me of that scene in The Office with Michael, Dwight, and Andy. Anyways, okay, so there, it's finished in iClone. So it's still loading up in Unreal. That's just fine. Now we can work in iClone. All right, everything's done in Unreal. So we can actually just delete our characters. We don't need them here anymore. All the transferring is done. So let's bring in our kids, our kiddos. We'll have them running on the field here beside this couple. Under actor, let's go to pack. Oh, you're going to search kid, whatever. You search kid, I'm sure some kid will pop up. There we go. Kids volume 1. Actually, let's use the youth kind of kids. This one has a kind of annoying looking bratty kind of kids. Look, use those ones. So let's have this one guy in the front and a couple of kids maybe playing along. They're playing tag or something. They're following along. All right, you can see they're in the underground, so we need to bring them above ground. Okay, whatever, that's fine. It'll snap to the terrain anyways with motion director. Now with this kid, we need to give them IMD files. So the fastest way I like to do this is just go to MD behavior And in the IMD list, you can see all the list of the ones we have available. This is way faster than going through all this content manager and stuff like that. Little quick tip if you're applying IMDs, just go to the IMD behavior. The whole list is right here. Everything that you have available in your library. So I'm going to apply this parkour one right here. Okay. Now the parkour is actually an extension, so you just have to choose a base IMD, and I can explore that more with you guys later if you want. There's some extensions that have specific actions like flips and all kinds of parkour stuff. That's an extension of the base IMDs. Okay. So there's IMDs and there's IMD extensions. IMD extensions contain a lot more data. That's why it's taking a while. But when we apply the other ones to the other kids, I'm just going to apply a quick run to them. All right, Unreal, is that done yet? Looks like it is done. Yep. All right. So there's our camera right there. We don't have to worry about that. Oh, what happened here? Oh, that's just the okay. Why are they? Oh, that's just because they're the meshes. The meshes will apply to the scene root, but if we go to our sequence, right here, this is the second sequence right here. So we'll just double click that and pop this camera. Okay, so this is our cuts. These are the cuts we made right here. So you can see walking along like this, and then cuts to that, and then boom, cuts to that. All right, it doesn't look too bad actually in the end, you know. This is camera 10. Let's make that. What is camera 10? I'm not sure what that is. I hope it's nothing important. Okay. There we go. All right, so let's just get a good look at it. Yeah, get a better look here. And play back. You can just imagine the narrator. Oh, and there's some depth of field stuff here that I didn't get right, but you know, for literally 2 minutes of camera work, it's not terrible. And you can improve upon that obviously as you will. But yeah, that's how you do the camera cuts, how the switching cameras in iClone transfers over to camera cuts in the sequencer. And you can do depth of field and all that fun stuff with this later on, but I don't have time for that. I'm just going to go to this stuff right now. Okay, so apply that IMD. Now the other two guys, we're just going to give them these athletic runs. Oh, let's make sure we have them selected first and apply the athletic loose, right? You can see that one's fast because basically it's just a run. Okay, so this one, the behavior settings, just has a run and a jump and a dash. This guy over here, you can click on him. Oh, there we go. Okay, so he has a ton of stuff, right? Like swan dives, precision jumps, and all kinds of fun stuff. Now your data setting, make sure here you have his initial mode here is want to be, we can have dash, whatever. Okay. This guy right here, we'll have him dash as well. We'll have them all dash. Dash is a bit faster than run. Okay. Now you need to define this guy right here under the behavior settings. No, under the controls rather. He's going to be controlled by me. So player control. And these guys, they're just followers. They're going to follow object, pick the object, pick this dude. We can have them look at object, doesn't matter. Offset, position offset, time offset. These are pretty self-explanatory. Just horizontal offset position is in away from him, how many units away from him he is. I can answer more questions about that if you guys want later, but I just kind of want to get through this demo real fast here because we're overtime, and we'll put this guy a little bit less position offset. We don't want them to be too slow, maybe a second behind. Okay, and then if we go to our MD controls, make sure that we are we can have free cam. We can have by follow camera. And this kid, what's his name? Kid 16. All right, okay, of this kid. And preview, follow camera, all set. Good, good, good. And macro data, we can clear this one, no worries. Okay, so that should work just fine. Let's go ahead and have the kid selected, press start. and says, yeah, it'll snap to the surface, which is awesome. Okay, it overrides the stuff right there. Right, here's a dude walking around, okay, or running around rather. Okay, and the other two guys are following him at different distances. All right, and if we stop this for a sec, if we go up to our windows and go to motion triggers, MD triggers, then when we play back, or when we simulate rather, start our simulation, you can see we have all sorts of cool parkour stuff here. We can do like this side flip, huh? All right, we can do a swan dive. Whoa. We can do I don't know, forward roll. Okay, so these are all the parkour motions. All right, and he moves around like that. Let's do a simulation, one quick simulation. I only want it to be about say 800 frames. So let's start this one. Okay, so we'll have this guy move around, forward roll. Okay, and then back this way. Hook slide. All right, whatever. Good enough. Okay, stop that. And then we have that in our macro data. So we go ahead there and apply to all characters. This is the most recent one, right? Oh no, this is the one. All right, make sure you pay attention to the time right there. Create clip and all of our characters. Yep. Okay, that should do the trick. All right, and then we can just import those guys into Unreal as well. Was it 900 frames? Okay, so frames of the project. We'll just do that. So Unreal Live Link, scene, include motion, current frame range. Yep. Now we only need the 3 kids imported. We don't need to worry about camera. All right, what do we have going on in Unreal right now? Oh, we were just demoing that, right? Okay, so transfer the file. And this will be it. This will be the last thing I'm going to transfer, and then we can get to the Q&A. So we're 10-ish minutes over time. So apologies for that. Yeah, we actually might as well get into the Q&A now while I'm waiting for this to load, because this will just take a minute for these 3 guys and their, or 3 kids and their animations to import in. You know what? I could have saved this. Basically, when I did the follow cam with the bird's eye view, I could have saved that camera as well. Probably should have done that, but just so you know, you can do that. All right, so we're back in the motion director controls where I had the follow cam. You can actually save that camera, save that as a camera, a separate camera, and the clip, and you can transfer that to Unreal Engine as well. Okay, so it's done loading in iClone, and now it'll be importing into Unreal. Okay, cool. Let's get to the Q&A, guys. Thanks for sticking with me for an extra little while there. Hopefully you learned a lot so far in this webinar, and we'll get to the Q&A. So again, any questions, please put those into the Q&A panel. I know I just kind of sped through a lot of things, so if you have any questions about things I kind of skipped over, feel free to bring those up now, or otherwise there's lots of tutorials on this that kind of go into a lot more detail. I just want to kind of show you how you can kind of bring together a scenario. And of course, I'm not going to do the rendering stuff right now. You can render your sequences on your own time. I showed you how to move the camera in Unreal really terribly, and I showed you how to import the sequence clips using the switcher, the active camera in iClone and all that stuff. All right, so let's get to the Q&A. Bing, bada, boom. All right. Question from F. Nazir. Why is my system so slow down whenever I use 6 or 7 characters in a scene? Or is there any trick to use many characters without affecting PC speed? Yeah, so Nazir has a RTX 4090, which is better than I have, i90 or i9 processor. So that's a good question. And I know that a lot of people out there have that kind of issue. The main thing that I actually didn't do that normally I do is I try to keep my iClone projects really small. Now you can bring in these like I'm doing right now. You can bring in these animations and characters as their own separate sequences, and you can basically have a master sequencer and kind of clip all those together. That's kind of the fastest way and easiest way to do it. which is normally the workflow that I would use. Another thing that you can do, there's a few things. Change your shader level in iClone up here from high to like minimal. Okay, that generally saves a lot of headaches. Um, in preferences, oh, progressive loading. You want to make sure you have progressive loading, progressive texture loading on. That's another thing you can do. I believe that's in preferences. Let's bring it over a little bit. Um, there's a number of different things you can do in preferences. I know for sure. Um, where's the progressive texture loading? I haven't been in here in a long time. Level of detail, you can go to more to performance if you want. Let's move this over. You can see quality performance. You can change that more to performance for the level of detail. Um, oh yeah, very at the very bottom, of course. Progressive texture loading, okay? You can change it from these values right here. Generally, if you have a lower percentage of CPU, like you can take it down to 5, that'll improve performance a little bit. That's one thing. I mean, it's very, very marginal, to be honest, though. The biggest thing that you'll have is if you change this shader value from high to minimal. And of course, look at the characters. Like right now, I only have 16,000 tries in my project right now, right? These individual characters, oh, sorry, this selected character is only 16,000 tries. So it's a really simple character. That's why I recommend using these actor core characters with like very simplistic meshes, because they're super cool. And if you go into light mode, that's even faster. Let's just make sure we can see our. You can see the wireframe is super simple for a character, right? Like, I mean, there's literally this is like video games in the early 2000s level of detail, you know. Um, Another thing you can do, yeah, use like very, very low res characters. Oh, look at that. Yeah, those are just a few things. I think if anyone has any more suggestions, you can put those in the chat window. Anything that's worked for you guys, I encourage your feedback. Put that in the chat window. Help a brother out there in Nazir. For those of you who have done other things that help save resources. Next question here. We'll go into the next one anyways from Leon. Can you make your own characters to add to the crowd system instead of buying the packs? Yeah, absolutely. I think I mentioned that like kind of later on in the webinar. And if you have your own low poly characters, I highly recommend that actually, because you can rig them really fast in AccuRig, and you can throw them into your Unreal scene super fast. Let's see if our Unreal project's loaded. Okay, there it is. All right, here's our kids. Look at them. They look like they're a bunch of punks ready to take on the world. Um, all right, so then we have let's go to our third sequence here. And you can play this back. All right, so running around. Of course, you want to delete the static meshes, but you can see he just kind of slid onto the ground there, moving around. All right, pretty fun, pretty fun stuff. I just kind of wanted to show you. Now we can watch it in reverse. One thing to notice though is really cool. Their feet snap to the terrain. So there's human IK, for example, like a place like this where you'll see that the foot they snap exactly to the terrain. If you take a look at the feet, they're perfect, basically perfect foot placement, which is really cool. All right, and that's done with Motion Director, which is one of the really cool features of Motion Director. You can, and even if it was like mountainous terrain going up and down, there's foot snapping to the terrain as well, which is really cool. All right, Frank Spees asks, I can use any CC4 character I've created in my crowd, right? Not just those from the actor core packages. Yep, again, same thing. You can use the CC4 characters. However, be aware that the CC4 characters are larger. They take up more resources. So you generally want to try to have lower. You can decimate the CC4 characters using character creator to have lower poly. That's one way you can do it as well. You can make them game ready in character creator. Those are opening up a whole different can of worms though. So there's tutorials on those. Just want to mention that you can do that. Leon asks, were the duplicates of the crowd in Unreal a random bug, or was it adding the characters to the persistent level? So yeah, I guess I mean it'll automatically add to your scene the skeletal meshes, and if you're opening up the sequence, then it'll have kind of like it'll have the shadow of those skeletal meshes. It'll have the instances, or what you call spawnable. So if you right click on any actor in your sequencer, like right click on this kid right here, you can see the lightning bolt, of course, means it's spawnable. If you go up here to convert to possessable, that means it'll be just a regular skeletal mesh that you can manipulate in your scene. The spawnable is just kind of like a shadow, I guess you can say, of the skeletal mesh. It doesn't have a rig, it's just a visual animation of it. That's kind of how I think of things anyways. All right, Leon. Okay, my questions were answered. Okay, good to know. Seth MacFarlane, thanks for Family Guy. Is there any way to utilize multiple GPUs for iClone aside from final renders? I find that my statistics only show the VRAM of my biggest card and not all cards. Right now, there's currently not a way to utilize multiple GPUs in iClone. As far as I know, I don't know of any way that I haven't heard of anyone successfully do it. I don't think we have that potential. I've found multiple GPUs, it's a marginal improvement for sure. But I just haven't found a way to make it do it in iClone. I don't think we have that potential as far as I know. I could be wrong. If someone knows better than I do, then you can put your feedback in the chat window. But as far as I know, multiple GPUs are not supported with iClone at this point. So a lot of other stuff like Omniverse, I know they support multiple GPUs. Obviously, it's NVIDIA. They want to sell you as many GPUs as possible. Okay, next question is from Alex here. This is a long one. Is it possible to parameterize an actor that is being used for the generate crowds? So instead of having multiple materials, say for example, you have one male, one female actor, but you want to have 3 different hairstyles for each, or 3 separate types of wardrobes. Is there a way to parameterize these types of items? I think, like I mentioned earlier, for actor core characters, basically what you buy is what you get. So they do have different color schemes that are available with them, and those materials, if you want to find those, they are in iClone. When you purchase your actor core characters, they'll be in the materials media down here, I believe, under Material Plus. Okay, so Media, Material Plus, and you'll find the different color schemes. So this is the same character right here, just different colors you can see. All right. I think just basically they're all in here. You can apply them directly from the content manager. But unfortunately, in terms of swapping hairstyles and stuff, that has to be a CC3 Plus character. Now you can convert a CC3 Plus character. I know it's strangely named. Just to clear everything up for people, CC3 Plus characters are the newest characters that come with Character Creator 4. Okay, they're just called CC3 Plus. They're not from Character Creator 3. They're from Character Creator 4. They're called CC3 Plus. But those are the most advanced characters so far at this point, and you can obviously swap anything with those characters. Any Character Creator character, you can do so, just not actor core characters. Again, actor core characters are made for scenes, for scenarios specifically like this, where you have a whole bunch of characters in a crowd, in the background of a basketball game or something like that. I mean, like HBO has used this technology, our software, for some of their stuff. It's really useful for a lot of things, these actor core characters. I can tell you that. They're not meant to be used. I mean, if we zoom in on this guy's face right now, for example, he's like, oh man, the stuff I've seen, dude. He looks like a PTSD something like that. So you don't want them close up, you don't want them to be they're not ideal for facial close-ups. They're not like metahumans per se, you want to have CCP plus characters for that. All right, so hopefully that answers your question there, Alex. If it doesn't, just ask again. Feel free to get more detail there. Derek Shea asks, for the nav mesh, can we edit the transform for walkable regions, or are we only blocking off using the bounding barriers? Edit the transform for walkable regions. Yeah, so you can't really move the nav mesh around. You basically just have to regenerate it or update it when you add different things into the nav mesh. Unfortunately, you can't use a transform to move the nav mesh around. It wouldn't really make sense in a lot of ways because, I mean, it's very specifically wrapped around a specific terrain or a specific object in 99% of cases. So, I mean, normally wouldn't make too much sense on that. But yeah, unfortunately, that's not an option there, Derek. So apologies for that. Anonymous asks, can fur be added to CC4 character skin like in MetaHuman? So iClone doesn't support fur per se. I mean, there's a lot more detail in terms of like fur, like character or animal fur in Unreal. Uh, in terms of yeah, iClone, we don't really mess around with the fur too much. I know that's coming up in the next, not the next update, but I think it's coming up in iClone 9. There's fur stuff coming out. That's still like another year or two in the future though. So but we are working on having that real time available for you guys. But for now, it's all in Unreal, which has, I mean, their engine's amazing, obviously, for real time for processing and stuff. It's really good, but nothing quite like that in CC4. I mean, there's workarounds that I won't get into right now, but yeah, I stick with Unreal for the physics and the fur and stuff like that. Okay, another question from Alex. So each character that has their own clothing or hairstyle would need to be their own eye avatar that we would convert and decimate, etc., to make it work. Yes, I think you got it spot on there, Alex. You create the character, customize the hairstyle, customize the clothing, customize the skin. Character creator obviously is awesome for that stuff. Customize the muscles, whatever you want, body shape, everything's customizable. And then you want to bake the materials first of all. So you want just a single material, hopefully, unless you need it to modify it later. Just bake the material so it's one single texture. Decimate it to hell, as far as it'll go without losing too much detail. And there you go, bing bang boom, you have your low poly, low resource character. Hopefully that answers that question. Next one's from Cameron. I'm just being nosy. Will there be another iClone 8 or CTA 5 update this year? Is Reillusion doing anything new this year, especially with the advancement of AI? Man, I tell you, every week I go on YouTube and there's like some new AI app that's coming out. It's kind of mind-boggling the way things are advancing. But iClone 8, we will have an iClone 8.5 later this year for sure. So keep your eyes open for that. There might be an 8.6, I think, but I'm not sure about that yet. There will be 8.6, but possibly not this year. I'm trying to think of the product calendar. I can't remember. Anyways, 8.5 is for sure this year. Yeah. With AI stuff, man, like I said, it's all I can just do is, man, we're trying to do as much as we can. 8.5, we're going to have kind of predictive motion. One little sneak peek I can give you is 8.5, we're going to have predictive motion layer editing. So you can kind of input a number of different poses into your motion editing tool, and it'll kind of snap to different poses based on what the AI thinks you're doing, which is pretty cool. Yeah, but that's a little teaser for you there. Next question is from Tiago. Can you do a project in iClone and live link it to Unreal? Absolutely, yeah. You can definitely. Would be nice to update my old iClone projects to Unreal. Yeah, Tiago, that's basically we have a bunch of engineers working around the clock to make the pipeline from iClone to Unreal as smooth and as easy as possible. Unreal definitely has a lot of advantages that iClone doesn't have, and vice versa. So we want to try and make those tools work together as smoothly as possible. Okay, another question from Leon here. The prop you used in Unreal, did you send that from Unreal to iClone? Yep. Oh, one cool thing I can do here. Let's maybe say one thing I forgot to do here is say we're concerned that these boys are going to be, running off the side of the path here into the water. Well, what we can do is we can just go ahead and let's distribute props down here, and on generate crowd, there's distribute props. Oh, okay, let's create something first. Let's create a fence, okay? But first let's create a path where we want that fence to be. Let's create a path right here, and let's just go bing, bang, boom. All right, good enough. And then what I want to do is create, scatter, distribute props. And the prop, I already have it loaded in here. It's railing prop. I was just doing this earlier today. But if you go to your content manager, just type in railing. I just saved this from under props. Rail. There you go. Let's go to items. This railing right here is the one I used. Okay. And pick object. Where do we want to put all these rails? We want to put them on the path. So pick object, pick the path right here. How many do we want? We want a formation, first of all, because we want them uniform. All right. And how many do we want? 10 is fine. We could have more on the XY axis as well if we want. And this is what it's going to look like. We can orientation, I think it's supposed to be like this. Let's find out. Deploy. Wrong. Okay. Orientation is supposed to be this way. All right. There you go. Oh, that's random. Sorry. Orientation. There we go. Like this. All right. Boom. We have a railing, and you can have the railing curve around as well if you want, if it's a curvy path. We probably want to do 90 degrees there, right? Okay. All right. So now these boys, there's no way they're going to go through that, fall into the water. And then, of course, if you want to bring that into Unreal, super easy. Again, Unreal Live Link, transfer. We don't need to include any motions, no characters, only these railings. I guess we have to select them all manually. Transfer files. And that should be pretty fast. It should appear behind these guys in a second. All right, let's go to the next question anyways. Yeah, I answered that question. You can transfer them back and forth. If I want to transfer anything, like if I want to transfer, one thing I'll show you that if I had enough time, I was going to use a path. I'm not sure if you noticed there was a path leading towards that big event center. And now that path had a number of different nodes. And that's a kind of a case sometimes in Unreal, one object will have a number of different nodes that you want to right click it and merge that prop. And I'll show you that once these railings all are brought in here. It should show up in a moment. Anyways, let's go to the next one here. This was the big sculpture that people were walking around in. Yeah, I brought that from Unreal to come on. It's still loading. Okay, Abdo. Can I export any character I sculpt from ZBrush and import it to CC4 and apply live face on it? Good question, Abdo. Now, if you're bringing a character, what I recommend doing for this workflow is, even if you're going to change the character dramatically, take one of the neutral characters from Character Creator and use that as your base character in ZBrush. And the reason for that is because all of the Character Creator characters have their own library of blend shapes, all right? And when you bring that into ZBrush, you'll have those blend shapes. And basically you can modify your character and everything like that. I mean, you can apply them to the character, your ZBrush character afterwards, but you have to do all the blend shapes manually. I mean, naturally, if you have your ZBrush character and you have, 50 or 60 different blend shapes for the facial animation, you can import those all into Character Creator and apply them to your character. No problem for sure. But just to make it easier on yourself, a lot of people will just start with a Character Creator base and then to ZBrush and then back into Character Creator. The ZBrush for like this detailed modifications and stuff for the mesh. But yeah, they're all compatible with live face. That's a whole nother can of worms that though, but there's tutorials on that. But yes, you can definitely do that. We have a very good pipeline with ZBrush as well. GoZ, there's Face Tools. Okay, Face Tools is a new ZBrush plugin. Oh, there's the fans finally. Yeah, so check those out. Face Tools is specifically for ZBrush artists. Okay, question from Mark McKinney. I dream of the day I can make a VR scene in iClone. The 360 videos are great, but to someday render out something I could see on my Quest 3 would be a dream. Well, you can do it in Unreal, Mark. Unreal's free. Pop your scene over into Unreal, and they have a lot of VR settings in Unreal, for sure. That's one that you can do it. Not quite yet in iClone, but you can do it in Unreal, and it'll look better in Unreal for sure. Better shaders, right? Okay, Seth again asks, are there any plans to expand on the PKFX engine, or are you guys leaving most of that type of particle effects, popcorn effects, up to things like Blender and Unreal Pipeline users? Oh man, that's a good question. I did hear something about popcorn effects, an update to that. So I think you can be optimistic about that, Seth. But I don't know I can't remember the details of it. But yeah, I think there are plans to expand that. So yeah, but obviously Blender and Unreal have amazing particle effects in both those programs, which far exceed what we have. And continuing on, Seth, also curious if there are plans to incorporate a better collision system for CC and iClone characters to reduce mesh clipping when using pre-made animations on stylized characters, so less cleanup is required. In terms of the collision system, I haven't heard anything about that, to be honest. But that is obviously something that often makes you want to pull out your hair. Getting physics and especially soft cloth physics to do what you want it to do. Unreal is really good for that, in my opinion. But yeah, there's a lot of cleanup required. I haven't heard anything, Seth. So. It's probably in the works, but I don't know anything specific about it. Okay, Abdo asks, can I transfer camera only to UE? Yes, you can, for sure. Is it possible to make a tutorial on the workflow of sculpting a body and adding horns and transferring these like part of the skin, not a prop, to CC4? Oh, good question. I mean, if you want to, you can just merge them all to your character, so they're part of the body mesh. If you don't need them as separate accessories, you don't need to define them as separate things on the body. You can always just merge them into your mesh as well. Yeah, Leon mentioned you can add them as an accessory, but even when you add them as an accessory, they're not. And then into a cloth. Okay. Yeah, I just always like to merge the mesh myself. You can do that in Blender and stuff. Super easy. But yeah, it all depends. I'm not sure you can do in Character Creator. I've just done it in Blender before. I think, can you merge like an accessory into a character? I'm pretty sure you can. I haven't done it, but I'm pretty sure you can. I haven't done it in a long time anyways. So I kind of forget if it's a possibility, but maybe someone else can pitch in there. Yeah. All right. Okay, and you meshes up the mesh. Okay. All right. So Alex, that last question, and we'll close up. It looks like we got Alex on the line here. Do you know if they'll make an add-on similar to Face Tools for ZBrush, but for the bodies? Good question. That is probably in the future, I would imagine. I mean, we have a couple of priorities. We try and prioritize people who use like Blender, ZBrush and Unreal right now. So we're always keeping up to date as much as possible to make a smooth and clean pipeline to all those programs. Because we find that most of our users are actually just using those programs. So we're just kind of answering demand, really. They're very popular. All of them in their own right, for modeling and for scene creation and rendering, and then Unreal for the game engine stuff. So, and also Unreal for rendering cinematics as well. Um, yeah, good question. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure it's in the pipeline. Good question, Alex. All right, looks like we're all done for today. It looks like there's no more questions. So yeah, again, thank you so much, everyone, for your patience and going a little bit overtime today. And maybe I went a little bit too fast in the demo, but hopefully you caught some stuff that helps your Unreal and iClone journey, and you can use it in the future to create some awesome cinematics. I'm looking forward to seeing some stuff on YouTube and featured on our website and stuff. So yeah, make sure you fill out that survey, get your 10% discount for the content store. And as always, thanks so much for being here, guys. Adios, and enjoy the rest of your spring break. Take care, guys.